What it do, everybody? We back in here, Squad Nero. It's me, Sage, and Croco back in this thing. Please hit that like and subscribe button as we are looking to give y'all a little bit more content, especially more anime, manga based or related content as well. So this is just a little something. It's Mother's Day, so obviously some of our folks is busy right now, but we want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We appreciate
Happy
y'all.
Mother's Day.
We appreciate y'all so much. Um, all right, so now at this point in time, we are gonna go over some Boruto, and I'm gonna just
Yes,
put
sir.
the main page or the main cover art that's in color, obviously, on the page real quick. Thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed. If you see down at the bottom, creator supervisor. If you see down at the bottom, bottom right, I feel like there's been a lot of speculation on who's really writing the story of Boruto, but if you peep at the bottom right, the creator slash supervisor is Masashi Kishimoto. Art is Mikio Ikemoto. Supposedly, and we talked about this before, but when they went to France or something like that and they were being asked questions, Ikemoto is the main person that's writing the story for Boruto right now. Masashi Kishimoto just does his edits on it if necessary. But Ikemoto is coming up with all of these things, so we got to give some props to Ikemoto.
Yes.
For a lot of people, and rightfully so, they might be kind of scared about the potential of the people that's following these crazy mangakas that we've been accustomed to. Some of these mangakas is old or getting there or have been worked to the bone type of thing. So basically, these other people are our last line of defense that's following them. So I'm happy to see that people are able to take up the mantle. But nonetheless, how you feeling about this? I know you just read back in through it, Croco. How you feeling about this chapter?
I love it. And then also just to kind of double down on your point with Ikimoto, apologies if I'm messing up how his name is pronounced. But e- that's something that a lot of people they kind of put a lot of weight on is when the mangaka can actually deliver the same content that the previous mangaka who worked on it does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a phenomenal job. It was something where I think he had like what it seemed like was in the early phases of Boruto, it was more so let me just try to like I'm trying to kind of get it. I got to get it down. Kishi probably came in, gave him a couple tips and pointers, and then he was able to run the full length and really get what I say and what I feel is a very good progression on the Naruto world and mythos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I absolutely love this chapter. I think that this chapter, it was I was we were kind of waiting for this, right? Like we knew that Sarada should have gotten kind of a stronger boost. We know that this is Sasuke's child. Sasuke being on comparable strength to Naruto, two of the strongest characters that we've seen in the Naruto world.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that the offspring of these two characters should have massive amounts of powers and be able to push the boundaries than anything that we've seen in Naruto at this point. So with Sarada, we already saw a lot of what I felt like was her capabilities, just some of the jinjitsu that she was formulating in the earlier aspects and the younger aspects of the Boruto series.
Mm-hmm.
We saw her do, if people really, and that's the thing, you kind of had to like really lock in. That's what I love about the fact that you're reading this and that I'm able to talk to you about this because you have a keen ability to be able to look at some of the finer aspects and any type of media that we cover. And this is one where you need somebody like that. You need somebody who's going to be able to kind of pay attention to those things. And in Boruto, there's a lot of opportunities too. And Sarada, I feel like, is a great example of that. So we've already kind of seen where she's done things with the fireball jutsu that shows her proficiency with just chakra and her proficiency with ninjutsu
Mm-hmm.
and to now see this was incredible. Beyond that, what I'm loving about Boruto, especially since it's gone into the blue vortex side,
Mm-hmm.
is that we are getting you. I know you love this, and I love this as well. Is where you're getting some of it's like you're getting uh the narration and the story progression is happening as everything else is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I love the most about how Blue Vortex has been going is they're pushing the narrative forward while also giving us a lot of different action and a lot of different scenes with different characters. So honestly, they've been on a very strong run for me personally. And this chapter is just another example of that.
Yeah, I feel like between, I feel like we probably had more action based chapters more so than dialogue based chapters, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still able to compact a whole lot of story elements within those chapters that they do use that isn't action based and everything. Ikemoto is just doing a great job of pacing right now. Every chapter
Mm-hmm.
has something. You might get one chapter where it's really story heavy, might even be two, 1.5, two at max. But after that, you getting right back into the action. It's really setting the tone that this isn't how Boruto was in his first iteration. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
world is a lot different. Obviously, Naruto paved the way for peace across all lands. So obviously, the first part of Boruto wasn't gonna have that much of strenuous circumstances until we got to the more Otsutsuki element of everything. But now that we're like fully entrenched in it again, it's been a seamless transition, and I feel like it's gathered the attention of a lot more people. Um, to keep their eye out on Boruto and everything like that. But this is the chapter I feel like a lot of people have been waiting on. Sarada is finally getting her moment. I
Yep.
think somebody was saying, I was watching a YouTube video, it's been 2 years since the chapter, or a year since the chapter where she unlocked her Mangekyo. I believe it's 2 years.
Wow.
2 years
That's
since she
wild.
unlocked it back in the Boruto first part. Before we actually are able to see it in action. And it
Mm-hmm.
seems like that was more so on Sarada's fault, because as you could tell from this story, and again, this is spoilers, so if you're not caught up to chapter 21, please don't listen to more of this. But if you are interested, we would appreciate you to stay on, and then please like and subscribe as well. Do not forget
Yes.
that. We really appreciate that. Hit that noti bell so y'all stay up to date with us doing more of these. But yeah, it goes through kind of like a little of her backstory, a little bit of her ethos of why she didn't necessarily want to use these powers for any old reason. I feel like it's possible that Sasuke already told her about the Mangekyo Sharingan, told her about what happens, since she doesn't have the eyes of one of her relatives or anything like that to unlock the Eternal,
Mm-hmm.
and that it could potentially burn out and you can become blind using it. And she only wanted to use that power in order to assist Boruto. And in that, she kind of suppressed her feelings for Boruto at the same time, because just like her father and just like multiple other Uchiha, sometimes you don't see that love is that power bringer that you think it could be. Sometimes you think it's just training, it's hard work, it's grit and everything like that, but love could do a lot for a person, and once they fully utilize it, it could do even more type of thing. So I feel like the first, I want to say 25% of this chapter was a little flashback of all the things that's happened. Boruto getting slashed by Kawaki and everything like that. Um, Mitsuki having a bloodlustful Boruto after the omnipotence thing was used by Ada and Kawaki. And even her, or they don't even show her unlocking it. Oh, they do. They do show it. And then Sasuke actually
Mm-hmm.
brought it up to Boruto as well, which is something that we didn't know. And this is another thing, too. Ikemoto is doing things where he shows certain events that happened in the past, but not
Yeah.
the whole entire event,
Whole.
not the
Yes.
entire talk. And that could be used so fucking well because we understand that Sasuke and Boruto was training at this point in time, or at least this was shortly after because he still had his eye bandaged up from Kawaki. And Sasuke immediately brought that up, but it's been points in time where we've seen Sasuke and Boruto training, all sorts of things, and this is what folks have been clamoring for. But Ikemoto was like, well, I'm not gonna give you the full thing in one sitting. I'm gonna sprinkle this throughout the whole entire time so that we can still keep these characters that are beloved in the story as if they aren't stuck in a tree right now, which
Right.
is Sasuke's thing. But oh yeah, I want to say it might even be more than 25% of the chapter. It might be 50. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of it, but and then going back to what you were saying, I really do think that that is one like I I really got to give Ikimoto credit on this again. Just we already kind of discussed it, but just to kind of hit on that again, the idea of what was kind of a slow transition that happened in the first Boruto, and in just the progression that you get as you go into Blue Vortex, and that's one of the probably the biggest ways that I think he's done it is he knows there's a lot of story. Like essentially, what you have to do with this whole Atsuki arc
Mm-hmm.
is you, in a way, is kind of like constantly playing catch up while at the same time trying to introduce new elements and new lore
Mm-hmm.
to the story. So Ikimoto using this opportunity to break it down this way, where he's like, look, I'm not going to give all of it to you to once. I'm not going to overwhelm the reader in all of this information at once. I'll have it break down in flashbacks where I give you more. But you know what? I'll give you a piece of that flashback so that way it's not coming from completely left field. It's something where it makes sense. You already were familiar to this to some extent,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just elaborating on it more. It's really great. It's almost like how that's what happens like when we write papers. Like it's the most basic form of like writing direction for
Mm-hmm.
anybody that's reading something. And it's something that if anybody that's written a college level paper, right? Like you'll introduce certain themes that you want to talk about in like a thesis statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then as you go back, you're referencing that back and giving it more meat and gravy. And that's exactly what Ikimoto is doing here. He's like, look, I'm going to give you this thesis and this content. Boom, here you go. Let's explain it a little bit further. Let's give you the emotion. In the case of this chapter, let's give you the emotions that Sakura has had. Let's put all of that back into play. Let's take those flashbacks and let's now flesh out what all of that was supposed to culminate to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we see what we have here in this chapter. And I personally applaud him for that.
I think that's one thing where he has been trying to find that balance. Where I think a lot of people, or I don't think, it's kind of known that a lot of people, their biggest gripe with Naruto Shippuden was the forcefulness it seemed like of Kaguya into the
Kaguya,
fold.
yeah.
Even though you would have to have paid attention to the most minute of details throughout the entire story, and it's just sprinkled here and there type of thing. It's not
Right.
something that is so prominent that it's just easy, oh, we knew this was coming, or we kind of speculated that this was coming, and they actually showed it. But
Yes.
and I think Igimoto has found that middle ground where he's able to
Yes.
give you enough, even more than what Kishimoto did in the past.
Yes. I agree with
So it's
that
a lot
100%.
easier to connect the dots. It's not as so if something does
Yes.
happen in the future, at least we're not awestruck like Kaguya, because I think at that point it lost a
The,
lot of
the,
fans.
yeah, and I'm kind of on both sides of it
Mm-hmm.
because like in the original Naruto, there is a part of me that does feel like Kaguya kind of came in left field. But to your point, if people were paying attention to the lore that was around, um, what was it, Hagoromo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if people paid attention to the lore around Hagoromo, there were instances where this was like mentioned and discussed. It was very vague and
Mm-hmm.
very little, and it didn't use visuals to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to your point, you're right, it was still there. And me being like, Naruto was a series where like I just was like completely entrenched in it. Like it took every week I was just entrenched in Naruto
Mm-hmm.
to where I was able to notice that enough to where it didn't bother me a lot, but I could also see where people were bothered because the hype around Madara was just so massive
Yeah.
versus um any relative hype towards Kaguya, which with this series with the Atsuki,
Mm-hmm.
that is where I do agree with you. I feel that Ikimoto has kind of improved. He's refined what Kishimoto was trying to do with Atsuki in the Naruto arc. He's refined it to
Mm-hmm.
be okay. Nothing really should come as a surprise to you because we're talking and showing these people and the elements connected to these people throughout the entire series. As an example, if if um we were to get to like that grandfather, like Kaguya's father of the Atsuki, whoever that big dog is, like that King Atsuki,
Mm-hmm.
if that is the end game of Boruto, okay, you have to understand that was already talked about in that first
And
Boruto
showed.
and shown. And then on top of that, everything that's around oh, what's her name? The purple hair with the
Ada,
kid.
not Ada.
Ada,
Ada, yeah.
yep, with Ada. Everything with Ada and this power of omnipotence that we're getting now in
Mm-hmm.
Blue Vortex and what is like what set up Blue
And even
Vortex
all the
is
other ones too.
yep. It all of that though is right, and even all of the other Atsuski or even
The
the
codes,
Ten
the
Tail beasts, the
daemons.
codes, yeah, all of that is all predicated in powers that were applicable to this grander Atsuki. So if anybody were to watch or is keeping up with this, reading it, we will be getting it in anime form soon. But if anybody who's been reading it, you can't say the same thing that you said with Kaguya and Naruto, where it was like, oh, it felt like this came out of nowhere. You
Mm-hmm.
can't use that here
Yeah.
because there's been tidbits that's been obvious and given to your face, and to your point, visuals that's been given to you that have explained that this is something that could potentially come if that happens to be the route that Ikemoto goes. So I 100% agree with you, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't want to hear people saying, oh,
This came out
this
of
was
left field.
completely from left field,
Yeah.
right? When that time comes, if that is where we go.
When you think about it personally, they gave Madara like multiple different avenues to operate in Naruto Shippuden in that final battle.
Mm-hmm.
He fought the ninja army. He fought the
Mm-hmm.
five Kage. He ended up fighting. Was it my guy at that
Uh,
point, or did he fight Naruto and
Even
Sasuke
before
first?
that, he fought the original. He fought two sets of five Kages
Mm-hmm.
because he fought the OGs second after fighting the originals with Tsunade and that crew,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, he's given. I believe that's when we get into Might God. It, yeah, it's kind of like Obito is in that as well,
Mm-hmm. Like,
like a little precursor with Obito, but we know how the whole Obito thing goes.
yeah.
And then Might Guy, and then yeah, it's like you had all of these opportunities to kind of just like pull back with the power that you had,
Mm-hmm.
and that in and of itself would have been a lot. Like if you didn't get the whole Naruto and Sasuke meeting Hagoromo thing going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Madara would have been a problem.
Yeah.
If Might Guy didn't stop him, just him being in that form where he was at would have been enough of a problem. But
Mm-hmm.
it was the yearn for just more power that ended up bringing about a Kaguya situation. Which again, if you yearning for that much power, yeah, I would imagine at that point Atsuki would resurface.
Yeah. Tapping into that much of their power. But nonetheless, back on to Boruto.
This
After
chapter, yeah.
after the time going back into the past about Sasuke and Boruto actually talking about it, we've come to find out that that is the sole reason why Sasuke actually believed her. Everybody assumed it wasn't necessarily talked about in depth or in detail in the chapter so far, but everybody assumed that's the reason why Sasuke would act upon that, going against the omnipotence jutsu that was casted over the whole earth. Um, so he basically told her to let her know about the truth, her abilities, and what she's capable of. We start to see a panel. Oh, and before this, somebody had to pass away. Sadly enough, it was Yodo
Yeah.
from the Sand Village, if I'm not mistaken.
Sand Tribe, yeah.
Which is sad. We just kind of technically met her, I believe. She probably was in Boruto
We
before.
saw her before in Boruto, but it was not
It wasn't
really much dialogue or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was the actual one that called her out because Yodo was able to. I guess she has her senses with chakra is like top tier. And I guess she was able to sense that Sakura was holding back. And again, we come to the full circle moment of Sakura doing that for a purpose because she only wanted to use this to help save Boruto. But in the process, she realized if she wanted to be Hokage, you need to be able to save everybody. As many people as you possibly can, even people from different villages and everything like that. So
Right.
she finally pops her Mangekyo Sharingan, catches everybody off guard. We immediately see a black orb just swirling in the sky above Ryu, who's the damn, what is it? Ten Tails? Damn, I can't. Ten Tails clone that she's fighting right now.
It took over to like the sand, right?
Yeah, Ryu tried to attack her immediately with his Iron Sand, which to this point.
I lost you.
Oh, I'm still here. Hello? 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 Oh no.
There you go.
Okay. My shit tweak. It always goes out randomly. I need to contact Spectrum. These niggas hold me. Nonetheless, Ryu attacks her immediately with his Iron Sand after she pops the orb. And up to this point, the Iron Sand was cooking everybody, basically. The only person was Yodo's compadre. I can't remember the nigga's name right now, but he had some sword that was able to dissipate the Iron Sand, obviously because he used to fight. I can't remember who Ryu is based off of. Fuck.
Gaara's adopted son.
Yeah, I can't remember his name at this point. Shinky. There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Shinky. So up to this point, Ryu's been cooking everybody. He launches the Iron Sand to Sarada. Iron Sand immediately gets absorbed into the orb that's around her as well. Ryu is caught off guard. What is this black spear? Is it one of Uchiha Sarada's abilities? As she's just sitting there. Hey, they had Sarada. Hey, Ikemoto, another thing. He's cooking with the ladies. This is not the only lady that is about to be super powered. We have a whole nother lady in Himawari that we haven't even tapped into her potential yet.
Yeah. We saw a glimpse of her immediate results. Yeah. I love that too because I want them to be as strong. Like that needs to be a thing. It's actually a great narrative move that I feel like Kishimoto kind of slept on in Naruto. Like there were instances like yes, you had like Tsunade, and you had certain instances, but you know, this is like to me, Ikemoto is making up for where that should have had way more progression, and I think it's good having those characters. Their stakes, they view stakes differently. Just like our real world, right? One of the things, it's Mother's Day, right? So like we could use mothers as an example. We've all been able to, not all of us, but a lot of us have been able to witness like the love that a mother can just have even around her children, right? Like you've seen wonderfully strong actions and moves that have been done from that in our own real lives. And the fact that that's like that's an element that you happen to see more on that feminine side, not to bind anybody that like a binary kind of setup, but the fact that you can get different, you could pull from different emotions, especially on a literary sense. That is something where it's like Ikemoto drawn on that, and especially how it's being drawn upon with Sakura Sarada. Ooh, mixing up three names. But the way that it is with Sarada, there's so much story that can be told around that. How these things impact her later on. You can't, even though Boruto is a great character, this specific element isn't something that you could flesh out with Boruto, that you could flesh out even with a character that has expressed more love. What's the snake boy
Mitsuki.
name? Mitsuki is a great character to me because there's a different element to that. It's like
especially
like a knight to a king type thing.
Yeah, especially with the omnipotence flipping everything upside down.
Great example.
Especially with that, I feel like Mitsuki's character took a whole nother level because in this instance, he thought somebody grieved his son, who at that present point in time, he was basically Boruto's best friend. Probably Shikamaru's son was probably his real best friend, but Mitsuki was really in like second place, or at least in his team trying to do it. Yeah. So just to see his bloodlust activate, and now he's activating Sage mode, don't give a fuck about keeping the joint secret or anything anymore. He's
Mm-mm.
just like, fuck it. Like they did my homie wrong, and now I have to get him back. But then when we get to Boruto TBV, and he sees Boruto actually protecting people, and is curious. They don't have Mitsuki just be like a slave, a mindless slave,
No,
just following whatever his son does. Because at this point in time, he thinks that Kawaki is his son.
it's his son. Yeah.
But he's been having difficulties for the past 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, trying to see the actions, comparing up to his son, and the actions that he was previously accustomed to with Boruto.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's
It's
a
more.
beautiful
It
thing.
morphs it into being more like a code of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before in Boruto, which again, going back to Ikemoto, I think that's great character development. Having it go from being this thing where, at least to us, people who were not privy to where exactly the story was gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
to have us look at it and be like, oh, okay, this is kind of like as simple as like a knight to a king, or like almost like a servant role, as you like how you stated. That was kind of how we could have like people could have interpreted it from
Mm-hmm.
the Boruto original run, and then having, like you said, flipping it upside down and saying, no, this isn't really like a servitude-ish aspect to Mitsuki, but this is more so like a code of honor.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something where he's not just gonna blindly respect whoever it is he views as his son, but he's gonna actually look at the characteristics and such that represent the person who he wants to be, that role, that representation in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Fire development to me.
Fire.
And then that's the thing, like you said, Sarada, we able to kind of see where love and things like that can kind of play a part. I love how you brought up omnipotence, because we also get to see that with Ida, and the idea any type of advancement in regards to that with this character, which I imagine there will be,
Mm-hmm.
cooking. And it's also, like you said, this has been a strong female character that's been able to flip the entire universe, let alone just a battle or anything like that. She's been able to flip the entire universe on his head. And we still got Naruto's sister, who we don't even know
Mm-hmm.
exactly how the development is going to be in that. We were able to see how she was able to kind of use her powers for her fellow comrades. But is it in the same way that Sarada is kind of doing now that she's activated her Mangekyo
Mm-hmm.
Sharingan, or is it something that's completely new and unique
Mm-hmm.
to this specific character? Maybe even something more so along the lines of, at core, what Naruto represented, taking away the Hokage side of Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just what it, like what not what Naruto represented as the Hokage, but what Naruto represented as Naruto. Do we see like a morph of that in Hinata and their daughter?
Mm-hmm.
I love it, bro. Like, I think he cooking. Like, I understand for a lot of people it may, Boruto, the anime and whatnot, may have not went in the direction that they wanted. But to me, I'm 100% with you that I think Ikimoto is cooking. And I think if you look at some of the deeper elements and layers in regards to these characters, it's a great story to appreciate. Like, it's shaping up to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we got after Sarada takes over the Iron Sand, everybody's sitting there confused. Mitsuki is sitting there confused. Sarada tells Mitsuki protect Arya and Yoda, Araya and Yodo, and protect yourself too. Mitsuki is confused about her eyes. Sarada lets us know that the abilities have just awakened, but she already knows what to do with said abilities, which is
Which is a
crazy.
trademark, because
Yeah,
I believe
Sasuke
Sasuke
did the
said
same
that's
thing.
how it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I believe Sasuke, Itachi, people who are proficient, especially with straight line tomos on their Sharingan, that's usually the strongest ones. We're gonna get more into Mangekyo Sharingans too a little bit later. I just want to flesh out first probably like the story elements, and then we'll talk about the power set and what could potentially be her powers that we haven't even seen yet. But back to the manga, Mitsuki is trying to formulate how she's able to do this, or I believe that's Ryu that's trying to formulate how he's able to take care of her. We start to see that he tries to sneak attack her from underneath with the iron sand, and that is futile as well, as that's being sucked away by another orb that he didn't even know was there, that's right behind him. They're heading in the opposite direction. So now he's starting to see that there are 4 orbs located on the battlefield all throughout. And Mitsuki is sitting there looking at it again. Ryu tries to get up in the air. Or matter of fact, the orb actually picks him up from the air.
Mm-hmm.
And now Sarada is actually floating as well. And when I tell you, if y'all, man, these panels, this man Ikemoto is cooking, man.
He'll just give you the float.
Yeah.
He'll just end that page with just levitate, and it's like, what we getting now,
brother? And then people were talking about how is Sarada, how's Mitsuki, how are all these people gonna be able to fight alongside Boruto, and we're seeing it. We've been waiting for it, and we're seeing it now. Mitsuki ends up figuring out what her one power is that we've seen so far from her Mangekyo Sharingan, and he says is gravitational force. So basically, I want to say probably like a black hole of some sorts, right? Where black holes are generally considered like some of the most gravitational force that's known to man within our solar system or various solar systems within the universe. And she's able to manipulate what object has a certain amount of gravitational force, being able to therefore pull it and pull Ryu as well as herself and basically dissipate the gravity that she's affected by. She's able to pick what it applies to, and as Mitsuki is divulging in this, Ryu's actually being sucked into one of the spears. As Sarada at this whole time hasn't moved the muscles, just standing there, chilling, now floating. And she's talking about, for too long I've averted my gaze, fretting that my goal to become Hokage felt so out of reach, never being able to do anything about all of the calamities happening. I didn't want to acknowledge it. I was scared to admit how powerlessness I am. I don't even know if that makes sense. Yeah. So I looked away.
It's okay. He's still cooking.
From the me who felt unsettled by class reps' feelings and from my own feelings towards Boruto, I rejected them all as weaknesses, as we see known with Uchiha outside of Itachi from the get-go. Itachi's love was just directed towards the Hidden Leaf Village as a whole. It wasn't necessarily directed towards his family members because of what was going on at that point in time. Sasuke felt like the power that he needed to acquire was through ruthlessness, was through rejecting these feelings that he had for other people. Madara the same.
Right.
Mostly a lot of other Uchiha the same. I want to say Shisui was probably the other one that was probably different. That was more along the lines of Itachi.
Right.
But we're starting to see how the cycle is being broken from the Uchiha and why her Mangekyo Sharingan is so powerful, because it's not the same. It doesn't come from the same elements that everybody else came from before her. She realizes that by rejecting all of those feelings and calling them weaknesses, she realized that she was also rejecting the power hidden inside of her. Mitsuki is standing there. Ryu is getting upset, quit mumbling nonsense. Ryu, on his last attempt, tries to send some iron sand from his back, and she expands the spear enough to be bigger than his body, just by a little bit, absorb him by the spear, and the gravitational force is so strong. And it seems like, and when you read manga for a certain point in time, certain things are there for a specific reason. She says, I'm not looking away anymore. I feel like that's a main part, obviously, of her powers, is she has to be looking at a specific thing in order to be able to control it.
Say that too. Yep. That's why I said you be looking at all of them deeper levels, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
This is one of them, and you be looking at, because I had the exact same thought. Like, I'm so glad that you said that, because if you remember, she didn't just say that once. She said that twice. And it's just kind of like you said, when you look at manga, when you especially read shonen, they do that. They'll use some word, they'll repeat a phrase just in case you missed it twice,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be something that's directly tied to the action that's taking place forward. So you smoke that. You smoke that.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
sorry.
why I said I'm glad you're reading this.
Sorry to confuse, because if I run from myself, I can't tackle the reality in front of me. Can't save a single person, as they show Yodo's, I believe. Yeah, Yodo's dead body right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the gravitational force is so powerful that Ryu is trying to go back into the space that the other 10 Tails clones are at. I can't remember the main nigga's name. Fuck, what is his name?
Oh, it's like, it's
What
like
is his
Jura.
name? Jura. There we go.
Jura, yeah.
Jura. All right. Jura is sitting there. He sees Ryu's fingers going through the cube in which they teleport back. That's basically their home base, is what I'm gonna call it. He is so much gravitational force, he can't even move anything. He can't even move a finger in order to get in there. Sarada continues, if becoming Hokage is my dream, I need to start by accepting myself. This is when we start to see one of her Mangekyo Sharingan eyes start to bleed out as she
Mm-hmm.
starts to use the power, I'm guessing, to its fullest capabilities. And then we have one of the best spreads, which I think I'll be able to share it just briefly, but not for too long because I don't want to get no copyright strikes.
Mm-hmm.
But if y'all see the screen right now, one of the best spreads that we have possibly seen in this damn manga. I'm only gonna put it up for a little bit. There y'all go. Mangekyo Sharingan, she finally lets us know. Oh, I gotta scroll down. It just fucked me up. And then I believe she says the name of the move. Oh, go ahead.
No. I'll let you keep going.
She says the name of the move, Mangekyo Sharingan Ohirume. I believe that's how you
Yep.
pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all of her toys
Which
behind it.
that's the part, because it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but has we ever seen that manifested
I,
in the real like world?
I
I'm trying to remember an instance where it was. I may be, if anybody out there that's watching this, if you do know the instance where this occurred like this, please just let us know in the comments.
Infinite
But I
Tsukiyomi?
can't remember, like,
Maybe.
maybe for something like that.
But
But
that's
at
an
that
OP
point, I
as
don't even refer, exactly. At that point, I don't even refer to it as like Sharingan anymore,
mm-hmm.
or an ability of a Sharingan. I put that with next level Rinnegan
Mm-hmm.
abilities at that point. Like, there's nothing Sasuke's done where, maybe on a minute scale there's been something,
Yeah.
but it's always been like for an artistic effect. If there was,
Mm-hmm.
that's what my guess would be. Like, if this was ever something that was shown in Naruto or even in early Boruto, it was for an artistic sense. This is like a part of the ability, and it has every single one kind of making the shape of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
This is different.
It's almost as if she put him in a genjutsu. Like this the sight to see it as, it kind of reminds me of
Yeah.
Itachi when he was on the pole doing the genjutsu and everything, the
Yep.
Sasuke or the other people
Mm-hmm.
in the Uchiha clan. Maybe that's the closest, but even then, it doesn't. It pales in comparison.
It goes like a step right. It
Yeah.
goes a significant step forward than even that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we start to see after that beautiful panel, beautiful spread. There's a note at the top of this page that says, "Note, Ohirume, good lord, is an alternate name for Amaterasu, the sun goddess and chief deity of the Shinto pantheon." So we're starting to see some connections now. Obviously, they're from the same lineage. Obviously, most Uchiha are from the same lineage, but it's specific people within a specific familial lineage that have these specific connections with Amaterasu. I believe Itachi, Sasuke both have connections to Amaterasu, and both were one of their abilities within their Mangekyo Sharingan eyes. But it seems like this whole ability, these spears are versions of Amaterasu, basically Amaterasu black holes is what it looks like. It looks like the black flames that Sasuke was using, but it's just in a even more OP way.
Yeah, like a way more detailed, like meta kind of contextual vibe with this. Yeah.
So we start to see Ryu screaming in pain. We see Sarada's eye bleeding, still some more. And basically he's vaporized. It kind of reminds me of an atom, how it looks like when he's vaporized. We see the other 3 orbs still floating up there as well. Everybody is shocked, stunned. Sarada's just sitting there, and then she passes out with her eyes still bleeding. Mitsuki comes through, saves the day, like always, real G. She's unconscious. She must have used up all her chakra. And then the thorn bulb actually appears right next to Mitsuki. Ada actually ends up relaying the information to Kashin, Koji, and Boruto. Ryu was just awakened, taken down by Sarada's new power, so it's awakened good. We managed to achieve one of the most critical goals of this battle. Indeed, though it's a real shame about Yodo, but it wasn't in vain. Her sacrifice was a major contributing factor to this outcome, so it couldn't be helped. Boruto looks. And this is what I like about Boruto. This story is just too good. This is basically Naruto if Naruto couldn't trust Jiraiya.
Yeah,
and like Jiraiya is a upstanding gentleman, and I think Kashin Koji's heart is in the right place, but he's going about it in like a way that kind of reminds me
like a devious
Illuminati type shit.
Yeah, I was just about to say Akatsuki. Like it reminds me of the Akatsuki where it's like imagine if they were good guys, but they still behaved the entire way that they did. Like remember like Jigen with like the stab. Like imagine if he did all the same things that he did that we saw in Naruto, right? But he was like, "But I'm doing this for good," and he genuinely was.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, I can't trust you though. Like you stabbing people with spears in the name of goodness, but like. Do you see what you're doing? And it's kind of like that's the vibe that Kashin Koji is having for Boruto. It's like you started out as an enemy. I don't have that many people to trust. You say you on the side of good. I don't even know if partner you was working with who back in the in Konoha is somebody who I could trust. I didn't know before all of this popped off. I didn't know if I could trust him. Now I'm being forced to trust you. I'm in a world where I'm everybody's op. What am I supposed to do here? And that's like that look that Boruto give to me is just like it perfectly
side-eye the
expresses
fuck out of his
that.
ass.
That side eye is the whole Boruto in this whole true blue vortex phase.
And keep in mind, if you haven't been keeping up to date with the manga, Boruto actually talked about this with Kashin Koji. He asked them what was their chances of survival of everybody surviving in this battle. Kashin Koji deliberately didn't answer his ass. And he reminded Boruto, if you show up, Jura will come and he will put you in a pack and smoke you expeditiously, my nigga. He will do that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So Boruto sides out the fuck out of him after Kashin Koji says so it couldn't be helped. Hey, wait a second, Koji. Answer me truthfully. Was there any chance of the Mangekyo Sharingan awakening without anyone dying? Ada is sitting there, silent, listening to what Kashin Koji's answer is. She like, this shit juicy, nigga. Kashin Koji says, I can say this much: if you'd gone to help, it definitely wouldn't have awakened. Boruto says, you knew that Yoda would die and kept it from me, didn't you? Kashin Koji, I determined it was best not to tell you. And our current conversation proves me right. Boruto sits there. And what about Master Konohamaru? Does he have any chance against Masuri? Kashin Koji sits there. Boruto sides-eye him again. Answer me. Kashin Koji, you listen to me, Boruto. And this is... I've been watching YouTube videos and everything, and people have been talking about how Boruto and Kashin Koji, their foundation is on I want to say crumpled ground. It's not, the foundation is not the best. It's not as solid as Sasuke's. Even Sasuke, who had his memories altered, I'm guessing their foundation was a lot better than Kashin Koji's and Boruto's right now. Kashin Koji says, you listen to me, Boruto, basically demanding him Jura is connected to all the other divine trees through shared senses. So if you appear before Matsuri, Jura will seize you in a flash and kill you. I've seen many permutations of this, all with the same ending. Ada looks, Boruto looks.
She looked because she know he about to go.
He got to. So we go back to Konohamaru fighting Matsuri, if I'm not mistaken. Konohamaru, in his, and I'm not even gonna say weakness, he realized his feelings for Moegi.
Real Matsuri.
Yeah.
Moegi, yes.
He realized his feelings in the process of this. So even though he did have the 2 giant Rasengan,
Shikamaru kind of messed him up.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional. Like, the strategy that Shikamaru had is typical of Shikamaru. But what Shikamaru didn't take into play
emotions
was that Konohamaru had actual feelings for Moegi. So when this happened, he was kind of doomed for this not to work.
But that's also not on Shikamaru's point, though, because Kashin Koji only gave him so much information.
Right.
So at the end of this is all blame because Kashin Koji is trying to get a certain outcome.
He being too emotionless.
Yeah.
Because he knows so much, he going like Ultra Batman route. And the reality is everything that we seen between Sarada, between Mitsuki, all the stuff that we talked about earlier in this video, is all tied back to the strength from the emotions, from the togetherness. This is what I like Ikemoto. He took Talk No Jutsu and just made it a theme in the series.
Yeah.
We're not doing the Talk No Jutsu, but the Talk No Jutsu is still real. It's still in here.
Yeah.
It's a part of it, but it's like we just gonna have hands and fighting.
Yeah.
Explain it. He kill it. He's smoking it.
Thank you, Ikemoto. Thank you, Kishimoto.
Yes.
This is our thanks to y'all.
I appreciate you. Yes, I appreciate both of y'all so much.
But we see Matsuri has half of her body still gone from the 2 giant Rasengans, but she currently has 2 of her wooden, I guess you would say, appendages right now, stabbing Konohamaru, both one in his chest, I believe, or upper like shoulder, and the other one in the, I'd rather probably say upper arm shoulder area. Konohamaru's still sitting there. Matsuri, how dare you trick me, you bastard? You'll pay for that. Konohamaru's sitting there. He like, I'm about to die. You see a shuriken come out of nowhere, hit Matsuri in the back. Matsuri looks at the shuriken. No quicker than she could look at that goddamn shuriken. Boruto is already on the battlefield. He used the piece of metal that Mitsuki found earlier,
yes.
And said
that flat callback too.
Yep. They show the callback as well. Mitsuki saying it might be one that Boruto uses for teleportation. Before Matsuri could even finish Boruto's name, that bit is sliced up into chunks, little bitty pieces. Konohamaru is still looking at where Boruto initially spawned from. This is how fast this nigga moved. Cloak all up in there.
He got his granddaddy in him.
Oh, they.
he got that's his granddaddy boy right there.
And Kashin Koji immediately responds, that idiot, he's going to ruin everything. We start to see Jura get activated. There you are, Otsutsuki Boruto. And that is the ending of the chapter. I'd probably say this is a 10 out of 10 chapter for me.
Yeah, it's a great chapter. It's a great, for everything that it was like the last piece of one of the major characters that we needed to see. I mean, yes, we still need to see it out of, what's Boruto's brother's name? Kawaki. We still need to see it out of Kawaki. Because we know that he just unlocked it all, and like we haven't seen that whole thing yet. But you know, we still got. If we were to say, it's kind of weird because yes, Team 7, you really think of Mitsuki, Boruto and Sarada. But you know, like the big 3 in the series, I would say really more so is Kawaki, Boruto, and Sarada. Like those are the ones that have the highest impact, like what should be future impacts in the series. And the fact that, you know, we got to see Boruto have that grow up moment, and now we got the second person who we were introduced to have that grow up moment. It was needed. It was absolutely needed for as far as we've been in the True Blue Vortex portion of the series. And on top of that, again, the proper uses of the callbacks. The actual ability of Sarada's Mangekyou Sharingan and just some of the feats and things that they just did, and for us to be able to just get like hit with it the way that we did get hit with it in this chapter. Boruto kind of saying, in a sense, by the end of this chapter, he said, "I don't care about fate.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally don't care about.
I'm
I'll
gonna
make
break
my
that.
own fate." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you get him doing that without even actually saying it yet, but them setting that up right there in this, bro, you put all of those pieces together. Then, like you said, not only having Sarada showcase this power, but also showcasing her maturity, and that if I want to actually be a Hokage, basically I got to start acting like one
Mm-hmm.
and bossing up like she did. Um, like, yes, the other characters were kind of on the back burner this chapter. But given the amount of influence that they've had in the chapters proceed or leading up to this one,
Mm-hmm.
it was okay. Like, nothing about that felt unnatural. It felt unnecessary. It felt like they needed to be on the back burner for these two characters and Sarada and Boruto kind of expressing larger maturing points for both of them, progression points for both of their characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think I agree with you. I think this was a much needed chapter, and I would give it a 10 out of 10 as well. And I won't even say this is the first chapter that I would give a 10 out of 10 out of this True Blue Vortex, which is crazy
They had a couple.
because normally that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they've had a couple. That was a great point that you made as well. Damn, I just forgot it. Oh, that he was gonna decide his own fate. He was gonna make his own fate. That's a super, because at this point in time, fate leads you to believe that now that everybody is practically against you, your own father is basically, to other people, not your father. You're not the person that you've been raised to become. And Boruto has had to fight his fate for the past 3 years. So he's like, I'm just gonna double down. Fuck this shit. Fuck you, Kashin Koji. Respectfully, I mean, I appreciate the tutelage and everything that you gave me, the wherewithal, but at this point in time,
I'm Himothy, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I'm Himothy. And you know what's so dope about it too is, was he not doing the same thing in the first part? Being in the shadow of the Hokage, of the greatest Hokage, of the strongest character that you have seen in the entire. That was what Boruto's shadow, or that's what he was. That's what he had to live up to. It's like if you had to live up to Superman. Like, bro, I gotta live up to Superman. That's who I gotta be more OP than Superman. So he already had the greatest of odds against him, and even at that, he didn't even want to be like his father. He wanted to be like his father's rival. Even being able to identify that in him, where people could have said, "Oh, well, your fate is to be like your dad, or your fate is to be in the shadow of your dad." Boruto rejected that even before all of this stuff transpired. So now, when he got the second run at life, the second run under this crazy jinjitsu that just translates the complete mind change and mind wipe of everybody around him, and he basically having to do another life, he having to live another life, and he's being told in that other life, this is the fate that's up, that is meant for you, this is the fate that you have to follow. And Boruto saying, nah, none of that. Crazy.
And it's good enough writing where you understand where both sides are coming from. You understand where Kashin Koji is coming from because of his power, because of his ability to be able to see all of the possible futures and what's at stake. But you also feel and understand what Boruto is talking about and going through.
Right.
Where we've all grown up, we've all had people probably who are older than us tell us, hey, you can't do this because of what they were viewing in their own life, or the lives of people that were close to them as well. But their lives isn't my life to a T. Like, something that might not have worked for them could potentially work for me, and so on and so forth. So don't try to box me in. So you kind of see that Ikemoto is kind of banking in on that rebellious nature of teenagers at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like
And
it.
where and you know that's the thing is sometimes those moments can pay off. Sometimes those moments can define a person
Mhm.
when they happen to go. You think about it; those moments where you do break away, they're very tense because everybody that's you've been telling you, yo, like I know if you go this route, it's gonna be very volatile. Like there's a high percentage of volatility in this lifestyle or in this choice that you make. And you know, again, they usually are coming from a good place, just like Coach Akash and Koji is here. To your point, and when you are able to break from that, and if it is something that ends up going the right way, it usually ends up being something that molds the greater you
Mhm.
in the future, and we're seeing that in a narrative.
Mhm. Man, I too.
It's cooking. He got the pot, water boiled, throwing the vegetables in.
The
He
main
said,
dish
"I'm gonna
ain't even
throw a
come
little
yet.
of it. It ain't even come yet. He just jazzing up. Look it, I got the. Let me throw some vegetables in there. Let me put this little roux together for the macaroni. He getting the roux together. He ain't even just throwing the macaroni and the noodle in the pot. He getting the roux together. Like he cooking. I love it.
And it's just, it got everybody on the edge of their seats because we wondering at this whole present time where Kawaki is. Something has to
Exactly,
change.
and that's the bro, and it's going in the order of the like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first we got like if you go back to the Boruto, first we got an introductory to Boruto. They even put this in a movie for us to show that this is the next guy. This is the guy. Then once you moved into the series, you started to get that explanation on exactly who Sarada is. And as you got further into the series, you get this introduction to Kawaki. And they just running it back in this true blue vortex with their maturity points. We get the maturity of Boruto, who has to be immediate because of the circumstances. Now we get Sarada. Now we get to see what is going to be the progression of Kawaki now that he has his powers unlocked. And he's telling us all of this in a comprehensive story. It's not something where it's just I'm doing it because it's
I need to, because if I
yeah, I
don't,
need to, or it's the easiest way for me to go about it. It's not a matter or anything like that,
mm-hmm.
or the easy like the easiest path taken. It's not any. It's not a matter or anything like that. It's just a matter of weaving a story. Like he's just weaving a story, and he knows that it's going in his favor, so he's weaving it along the lines of certain themes and certain conditions that is already set forth from the previous material that he's written. And I love it.
What I'm
I love it.
curious about is where we go from here, because we obviously know at some point
I
in
know.
time the Hidden Leaf is going to be destroyed. Boruto and Kawaki are going to go head to head to settle
Mm-hmm.
their quarrels. What I'm curious about though is one person that we haven't seen, I believe, probably for a couple chapters. No, we probably seen him, but he got packed up. Cold. What
Yeah.
I'm curious about is when the time comes when, which I'm guessing we're all assuming, Boruto and Kawaki defeat Jura or get him to his last moments. And the whole mission that Code was given was to kill Boruto. We already seen Boruto get sniped when he wasn't when he was least expecting it. We seen
Mm-hmm.
other people. We seen Sarada get caught with stuff as well, Kawaki as well, multiple times. We seen that they still have blemishes, chinks in their armor, if you will. What I'm curious is at what levels will Code stoop down to in order to be able to get his revenge against everybody? Because I think he might be
Yeah, it's kind of this sneaky
the last
character who
person.
just kind of went in the background, like you
Mm-hmm.
said. Um, yeah, like I'm rolling with you because if so, let's say that Boruto does break, because we can't just ignore Koji's like prophecies. We can't like ignore them. And what he said is, listen, Boruto, and every prophecy that I seen where you go into this battle, you get packed up.
Mm-hmm.
So if that doesn't happen, right? Does that create the caveat for Code to be that person that would pack him up?
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree. I do agree with you that like there, it makes you wonder because that's the one character that's on the back burner and was supposed to be the original big bad for this art. It just happened to go into another way. So it's like, does it all we like what goes around comes around type of thing, like where it all kind of comes back around to him.
Mm-hmm.
I we just got to like that's the thing. The writing has been very good, so it's making it to where it's very hard to find any predictability.
Mm-hmm. You can
I
have a couple of assumptions, but we still don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just really hard to try to pinpoint it.
Yeah.
So even if that is the path, exactly how they would get there, I just don't know because at this current moment, like you said, unless it's a sneak attack, something where they catch them by surprise, which they kids,
Mm-hmm.
so it kind of makes sense that you are able to kind of catch them by surprise. Unless it's something like that, it makes it very hard to know exactly how Cole, who at this current moment seems to be inferior to the just basic strength of Boruto or Kawaki or even Sarada at this point. It looks like he is more or less inferior
Mm-hmm.
for whatever that means. And I just don't see how he would be the replacement for Jura being the one that would kind of cause this disruption for Boruto. But yeah,
I
the possibility does exist. I don't think that we can necessarily write it off at this point.
I think he might knowing Amado and his whole purpose, his whole premise, or what we think his premise is. If we're taking that as face value, I think Code might be the catalyst to be able to bring back Shibai in a more evil manner.
That's possible. Yeah.
Because I don't think Shibai at the end of his life was evil potentially. I think he started to learn the essence of life, attain true nirvana, which I'm pretty sure that Boruto is taking elements from Buddhism and everything like that, and was able to cross over into that next plane to become a god in a sense type of thing. So I think they might do something, and in this strange turn of events, I think Amado is going to try to use this to try and bring back his daughter if possible. But
okay,
that's an idea.
I like that too.
I
do like that too.
I have to see a lot more. I have to see what happens in this next fight if Jura ends up hopping on the battlefield, if even Kawaki ends up popping up on the battlefield.
That's what I think is gonna happen. I think
so,
that
too.
what is gonna break the odds of the visions that Koji has been having is that in the visions there wasn't any point where Boruto was aided by Kawaki.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's gonna cause Boruto to not perish in this fight as he would have in those visions. Is that Kawaki is gonna kind of join, and it's kind of like again going back to what we saw from the first chapter or from the first portion of the series, where we kind of had Naruto and Sasuke having to play a major role in the who was the guy that came before all of that from the first portion. He was the one who was like Kawaki's dad, first dad.
Jigen?
Jigen, yeah. So just kind of like how Naruto and Sasuke had to play a larger role in the Jigen fight, even though that wasn't ultimately decided by them. I think that this is where you get like that first Team 7 team up against a major threat. And it's like not only Kawaki, but we get Sarada with an assist from Mitsuki, who's kind of the ones that kind of ultimately take Jura down after a long fought battle. That's what I'm thinking. It might, because I mean, we do know that like the future has to be changed from what Koji has. So I do think we see Kawaki in this battle. That's if Jura does come. If it's not Jura though, and there's the possibility of that it could be that he sends just one of the other tail beasts there, and then it's like, okay, at that point it would automatically be different from the future that Koji had, anyways, and then it could just be them cutting down more of the 10-tailed people beasts. So I don't know. That's what I love about the writing is I love writing that leaves me where I'm like, I really just don't know what's next. I have to see the next chapter to have a better opinion. And then when I get that chapter, it's the same thing for the next one. I have the same answer. I'm like, I have to see the next chapter
Mm-hmm.
to have a better opinion on exactly what's gonna happen.
It could
So
take
it's good.
it could take so many turns in between each chapter, but we're gonna leave off probably with this one thing. We talked about the Mangekyo Sharingan earlier. I talked about it briefly. We see that only one of her eyes bled during that fight with Ryu and ultimately his demise. We understand throughout Naruto and Naruto Shippuden that Mangekyo Sharingans usually have two powers, each associated with each eye. Itachi had a Materasu in one eye and the Tsukiyomi in the other. Sasuke had a Materasu in one eye and Kagutsuchi, which is fire manipulation, in the other. Obito had Kamui in both of his eyes, one for short range version and the other for long range version, which I'm pretty sure he kept the long range version. Kakashi had the short range version. Um, Shishui and all of that jazz. Sarada has, we obviously know she can manipulate gravity with one. That manipulation of gravity also comes with Amaterasu orbs that we could see, or spheres that she's been able to use, and we know that she's able to create four of them. Now, what I'm curious of is what is her second ability. I do have some options, but if you want to say, or I have some things that I looked up, but if you want to say what you think or speculate it might be, I'm all ears.
No, I want to hear this because you dove into the dove in. Like
um,
yeah. Let me just hear this.
I just
I'm
looked.
a viewer for this portion.
I just looked it up on Google because I'm obviously not too familiar with Ohurime, the sun goddess, or her connections to Materasu within, I believe, is Buddhist teachings. I believe if it's not, please let us know correctly where these derive from down in the comments, please. But I looked it up on Google. They're saying that her second ability is likely a powerful chakra manipulation technique. Obviously, we can see that with Sasuke having his chakra manipulation technique for fire, possibly involving absorbing or redistributing chakra, or even a life-sustaining force using the chakra gathered by her black vortex. Another possibility is a genjutsu that alters reality, similar to Izanagi, or a technique related to the sun goddess of Materasu. And that's where I'm saying I don't necessarily know too much about the sun goddess and all of her lore and everything like that. But if she's able to repurpose that chakra, imagine she's able to manipulate and use other people's chakra elements against them. For example, let's say she stored this iron sand technique, and now she's able to use it almost kind of like Kakashi's copycat technique, but
Mm-hmm.
even a more OP version of it type of thing. Like, we get this into some crazy territory right now, and I'm also curious how she's gonna get the Eternal. Will her eyes die out like other eyes since, or will it be different since it was bred from different circumstances? Or will she actually get the internal Mangekyo Sharingan from a relative that she would need?
Yeah, but it would have to be Sasuke, right? Because who else is left?
Who else is left? I was thinking, I don't know if they have. Is fucking Madara's body even still alive? Could she even use Madara's body? Eyes?
She could if it's something that was kept, but like, okay, but time out, time out. In Naruto or in Boruto, we saw that I don't know who created him, but remember the little dudes with the wispy hair?
Oh, the fucking the Uzumaki. They're not the Uzumaki. The Uchiha clones or something like that. That they
Yeah,
created.
was that Orochimaru that created them? I can't remember.
I, ooh.
But like whoever created them, couldn't they possibly just like, all right, yo, we need you to fix Sarada's eye? Like I don't know if
Orochimaru.
they Orochimaru did. So it could, I mean, and that's the thing. She close to Mitsuki. So if Orochimaru got a bunch of these little Rinnegan eyes or whatever, she could even just level right up.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, yo, listen, I know you want no, because it was a Uchiha eye for that, right? All of them, they didn't have Rinnegans, right? They had the Uchiha eyes.
Uchiha.
Yeah. So I mean, he probably like, yeah, I got 6 eyes and tuck. You want your uncles? You want your great uncles? You want your great granddaddy eye?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember all of those eyes that Donzo had? I'ma just give you like, I got like 15 of your cousins right here.
Mm-hmm.
Which one you want? I even got a female you cheated nobody even knew about.
Yeah.
You want her eye? Keep it 1 to 1. I don't know, but like, yeah, unless it were to be something like that. Uh, Here's another thing though. You said like one of the things that you pointed out, right, was that healing was kind of like an application that could possibly come from her eye.
That's what I was
I
thinking
her
too.
mother, her mother
Mm-hmm.
was a healer,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then also on top of that, I don't know if the strength of 100 seals, which was that Byakuya thing, that was the little diamond that was on Sakura's forehead and also on um
Tsunade's.
Tsunade's forehead, but
Mm-hmm.
that was something that came. They, and I wonder if the idea of them not exploring it will be something that they explore further here. But in the original Naruto run, that seal was supposed to be something that was possible for Tsunade to really kind of access because of her Senju blood.
Mm-hmm.
I remember them specifically saying that during the fight because she was a descendant of the first Hokage
Mm-hmm.
who had that Senju blood, which when Madara was able to mix, at being a Uchiha, was able to mix that Senju blood, he was able to activate a Rinnegan,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my thing is dormant in a theme that they've been running with, which was something that was highlighted in this most recent chapter of Boruto, was that the biggest thing holding Sarada back is that she just doesn't access, like she needs to just believe in her power more.
Mm-hmm.
So if now with her believing in her power more, let's say that in order for Sakura to be able to have that strength of 100 seal diamond on her forehead as well, she had to have Senju blood in her in some way that wasn't explained in the Naruto series. Sakura just happened to have that blood as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, and when her and Sasuke came together, they were mixing something that hadn't been seen before in the ninjutsu world.
Mm-hmm.
They mixed that Senju blood with that Uchiha blood, and this is just in the ability for Sarada to surpass the Mangekyou Sharingan
Yeah.
has always been dormant in her. She just didn't know how to unlock it. And now that she's starting to go into her powers, maybe it's when she goes and she embraces that healing side,
Mm-hmm.
which could be something that could be tied to the ninjutsu, or the ninjutsu tied to her other eye's power. It'll not only unlock that, but it'll go to depths further. You know how that one eye is bleeding? What if the other eye, because it has those healing properties, isn't subjected to the same bleeding, blindness that the other eye is susceptible to? But because it's not, because there still is one eye that's affected, so that that eye doesn't go blind, she unlocks that seal mark.
Mm-hmm.
And when she unlocks that seal mark, the eye that bleeds becomes a Rinnegan.
Mm.
It's a
Mm.
lot right there, but that's why I like the writing here, because you almost can't say it's impossible because of how in depth Ikemoto's writing has been, that he could possibly maneuver something like that. Like, yeah, we still gonna stay within the Uchiha and the Amaterasu kind of goddess kind of timeline, but go even further.
I just realized technically Sasuke has Itachi's eyes. If
Mm-hmm.
they kept on the Sasuke's old eyes, I
She could have her other fathers, but it would
guess.
have had to been Orochi. But that's the thing, he was with Orochimaru. Yo,
Yeah.
Ikemoto be cooking because he was with Orochimaru
Yeah.
when that operation was done.
Mm-hmm.
He
And
was
and
with
Obito.
Orochimaru and Obito, but he was with Orochimaru and Obito. Let's think about their character for a second. They would have kept Sasuke's eye.
I feel like they would have.
They would have. They would. Their nature is scientific. They're scientists at heart. They're ninja scientists.
Mm-hmm.
They would have. There's no way that Orochimaru would have saw this strong Sasuke eye. and just say, yeah, nah, let's put that in the garbage. No. He is putting that in a test tube.
Yeah.
And
A little
he's
jar.
putting it under the grave. He's putting it under the cave. The cave got a cave for that eye.
Yeah.
Come on now. So
And
you're right. It very well could be she does end up going to Orochimaru, and it's not even like she's going to Orochimaru, and it's one of those things where, like, yeah, Orochimaru has his own trials, but she got a bonus in that Mitsuki, his what he views as his son, is in her corner.
mm-hmm.
So she might not have to go through the normal hoops somebody has to go through with Orochimaru.
Yeah. We have to see, because I don't know if that's possible. That'd be something that we haven't seen so far. I don't think nobody in the Naruto verse has used somebody's original eyes after they implanted another immediate family member's eyes to get the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. And with the lore, it needs to be an immediate family member, so Madara's eyes would not be able to help
Would not
Sarada.
be able to do it. Yeah. So, but her father's could. If they saved that his eyes, that could be it.
Potentially, it is something new that we've never seen before.
Orochimaru could perform that surgery, or her mother.
Both of them. Depending on how crazy she's going, I'm curious who her damn trainer has been this whole time. That's what I'm curious on. But before we go too crazy in depth, what's your final thoughts on this chapter, man?
Oh, it was great. I stick with that 10 out of 10. I love how the writing is. I love how it can just, again, you don't really know what's to come next, but once you get whatever you're getting, you're just very pleased. Not only are you pleased with it, but it makes you want to guess more. It makes you want to try, even though it's hard to exactly know. I really do love that. I love that we don't exactly know what could come next. It's kind of a if Sarada is passed out, it's a drastic situation, because if we know if it's Jura versus Boruto 1-on-1, most of the prophecies have been that he's gotten packed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that it's kind of keeping us on the edge of our seats, because we don't know what could happen. We don't know if this is where Kawaki could step in or not. It could be something where it could just be the original Team 3 that has to fight Jura and beat Jura. And what would that be like when Mitsuki doesn't seem like he's necessarily strong enough for what's to come,
Mm-hmm.
and Sarada, who just got a mean buff, is passed out because it's very taxing on her to use her powers. So yeah, I love where it left us. I love how they grew such a major character in Sarada in this chapter. I love how they subtly grew Boruto and that whole idea of defining his own fate.
Mm-hmm.
It just was a great chapter, and I'm very excited to see what's to come next, which should be soon. We got like what?
Less than 10 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback on a lot of the points that you had. Great chapter as well from my standpoint. Got us on the edge of our seats, curious about what these next 9 days will hold. Probably get some leaks before then. Most likely get a V-Jump magazine cover or something in there to show us or give us a little bit of an insight into what we can expect from this next chapter. Just thoroughly pleased overall with how this story is going, the pacing of it. It's never a too much of a dull moment, and even if it's a dull moment somewhat, it's a lot of lore packed into that. Yeah, it's a lot of lore, a lot of explanation packed into it. So overall, thoroughly pleased. If you haven't tapped into Boruto Two Blue Vortex yet, tap into it. You can watch a little video about Boruto, the first part, if you're not too prominent or up to date with the facts. I'd even say read the manga before you watch the anime for Boruto, the first part. If not, just watch a YouTube video. I'm pretty sure somebody will be able to concisely be able to convey all of the elements that you need in order to tap into Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. But tap into it now while it's still in its infancy stages, I'd say. It's 21 chapters and around 40 pages each. Tap into it and let us know how y'all are feeling about that series, okay? This is Croco's Corner. I said Croco's. This is Croco's Corner and Sage back at you.
Yes, sir.
With this thing. We appreciate y'all as well. Again, tap that like, smash that subscribe button, and hit that noti bell so you are tapping in with us in Squad Nero podcast when we tap into Marshall King, like Croco and Smooth be doing on their off time as well. We got the Boruto as well. We probably gonna start up some more as well. Probably a Kagurabachi. Who knows? Who knows? But we just wanted to drop some material for y'all for this week. Again, happy Mother's Day to the mothers. It's a little holiday week, so we took off. But we shall be back at the regularly scheduled program time next week, Sunday, between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. We appreciate y'all for stopping by again. Y'all take it easy. Have a good week. Peace.